It's Friday night, and you know what that means. We're back. The Asea 5, the Fabulous 5, coming to you every Friday night to share information on these amazing molecules called redox signaling molecules. And every week we bring a special guest. I don't know, some little winged guy. In any case, we love sharing this information with you. And again, I'm Dr. Maureen Hayes from Galveston, Texas, and I'm joined by Ann and Jim Glenn from San Antonio. Jim is our money man, and Ann is our nutritionist and personal trainer. And of course, we have Dr. Lee Osler from Washington State, who is a dentist extraordinaire and the author of 2 books now. You guys all know and love Redox Matters, and now Healthy Matters is available on Amazon. So you guys get your copy of that. So in the first, he teaches us the science. In the second one, he teaches us how to put it in, incorporate it into a healthy lifestyle. And
just real quick, Lee will be our guest in 2 weeks.
Oh, good.
So we get to review him, and maybe he'll actually read the book to you. You know, who knows? We could use an audio version. We need an audio version.
Yeah.
And
yes, we need an audio.
Speaking of authors, we have a fan favorite back, somebody who, you know, we learn so much from every time we have him on, Russell Mariani, who is our digestive expert, author of 2 books. Do you have your books, Russell? I know one is the No Dieting Guide to Health.
First book was called Healing Digestive Illness, 2006. Second book was called Principle Eating, the No Diet Way to Complete Health.
There you go. Awesome. Sign me up.
I love
it.
No
diet. I love it.
I have that one.
You have it? I need
It's a great book.
I like it.
Fantastic. And of course, we're all, because of Russell's instruction, all drinking plenty of water. And this may look like wine. It's not.
Sure, Maureen. You don't fool us.
You guys know I'm Catholic. It's Lent. No wine till Easter. So anyway, with that, without further ado, let me turn it over to Russell. Russell, come on and share your story. Tell us about your move from Massachusetts to Ontario. Tell us about digestive health, and tell us how you wrap redox into that. So thank you for joining us once again. We love having you on.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And welcome to everyone joining us tonight from all around the redox world. Dr. Lee, by the way, we do have to get your book on audio. And I did an audio book of my book, so I can help you with that for sure. And I think I wanted to start off tonight by saying that over the last few months, every time I want to feel really smart, I read this book.
Yeah.
This is Dr. Lee Osler's book, Redox Matters. It is absolutely fabulous. And everything you would possibly want to know about redox signaling molecules, why they're important, how they function, where they're at the foundation of all cellular health and healing, that's a book to read. And now we have Healthy Matters. And Dr. Lee will become famous for creating this phrase, the redox lifestyle. And, you know, I think that's a great phrase. And when we talk about the fundamentals of health and healing, that's what we're talking about. Because there isn't anything more fundamental to our physiological being than signaling well. So I like to think that the system of health that I learned 40 years ago, which was all about reestablishing physiological homeostasis by making better food choices, organic whole foods, better hydration, digestive enzymes, probiotics, avoiding oxidative stress or minimizing oxidative stress, being mindful of the environment and not eating processed foods, and being careful of pollution and artificial ingredients. All those things are part of the redox lifestyle, because all of those things that are absolutely fundamental to everyone's health and well-being affect the cell's ability to produce redox signaling molecules or not. Now, we're all very lucky today because we can replenish our supply of redox signaling molecules through these fabulous redox signaling supplements. But I think it's very important for people to understand if they're not using redox signaling supplements, that people who are healthy, who are not currently replenishing the redox signaling molecules, are healthy because the balance of habits that they're currently involved in complement redox homeostasis. If you eat good food and you're hydrated and you have healthy habits, you're helping your body produce redox signaling molecules, or to keep them in balance, keep the redox potential of your body in balance. And that's really important. And so all of the habits that we have learned about that complement redox homeostasis are the very things that you can do once you discover redox signaling supplements. Because a lot of people are introduced to redox signaling supplements and have a breakthrough experience in their health and energy and vitality, but the rest of their habits aren't very good necessarily. Now, that's not everybody, because lots of people, we've attracted lots and lots of very healthy people. But it's just so interesting that the fundamentals are the fundamentals. That's never going to change. And so we're so lucky to have the discovery of the redox signaling supplements, because by adding that to an already healthy routine, you're going to optimize all the benefits of all of your already good complementary. So here's my little redox intro. What do you want to know about me, or what do you want to know about my background?
Well, I want to know about how you when you were first told about redox signaling, how was it presented to you? What was spilled out saying, oh my gosh, you got to know about this? What was said to you to get your attention?
And real quick, on top of that, maybe first, explain what the heck we're talking about. What are redox molecules?
Well, I'm figuring that was in your intro to whoever shared it too, is what are
Explain
these?
what they are to a lay person, and then maybe also to a medical person.
Sure. Well, I'll answer both questions. But first, I pride myself in knowing a lot about nutrition and health and breakthrough discoveries in the world of cellular health and cellular metabolism and cellular regeneration. And I had never heard of redox signaling molecules and did not know the existence of redox signaling supplements. But back in the summer of 2011, a dear friend of mine who is a practitioner and had been very healthy most of his life, but had been suffering from a condition caused by a tick bite. Everyone knows what that condition is called. And he had been suffering for a long time, about 10 years. Invested a small personal fortune. I mean, I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars over a 10-year period, traveling all around the world, visiting the very best clinics and practitioners, trying to solve this condition and get his health back. But nothing had worked. And so I would check in with him every couple of months and see how he was doing. He was never doing well, and he was only getting worse. One day in summer 2011, I could see on my cell phone that it was my friend Art calling me. Usually I'm the one calling him. I answered and said, oh my God, Art, how are you doing? And he started talking. I said, my God, you sound great. You sound normal. You sound like you're healthy again. He said, I am. I said, how did that happen? And he said, Asea, redox signaling molecules. To which I said, what the heck is that? And I said, I don't care what it is. It obviously worked for you. How do I get it? So that was my introduction. Literally, he had tried everything under the sun, nothing worked. So that's what got my interest. And I was very lucky that Art had been connected to, his sponsor was Beth Wofford, and Beth Wofford's sponsor was Dr. Rob Ward. So within hours, I was on the phone talking to Dr. Rob Ward, who made a three-way call to Dr. Gary Samuelson. And for the hour and a half, they answered my questions. And I became very clear that if what they were telling me was true, that a breakthrough had occurred, not so much in the discovery of redox signaling molecules, but in the stabilization of these very reactive molecules so that they could put into a stabilized form, in a supplement form, and make them commercially available. So I ordered my first case of Asea, and the rest, as they say, is history. So I learned about it. And Dr. Lee can fill in any gaps that I might create in my simple explanation of redox signaling molecules. But basically, they're created, they're native to the body, they're manufactured inside the mitochondria of every cell of every healthy cell of our body. And basically, there are two types of redox molecules, reductants and oxidants. And I was actually just reading in Dr. Lee's book that for many, many, many years, when you said the word oxidant, it was always considered to be a negative. But only through the science of redox biology and redox biochemistry do we learn that oxidants are actually redox molecules, and they're essential, but they have to be balanced with reductants. And that's where we get the word redox. Reductants, which donate electrons, and oxidants, which take away electrons. So in that dance, at the microscopic molecular level, as long as they balance each other, then all of the activities that happen inside of a cell will happen more closely to their designed purpose and design function. So they're called redox signaling molecules because they are messenger molecules, communication molecules. But so they're responsible for all communication inside of a cell and outside of a cell, meaning between cells. But they're also responsible for the activation of everything that happens. The production of enzymes, the production of hormones, the regulation of circulation, the regulation of sugar, the regulation of blood pressure. Every physiologic process of our body is involved in or activated by redox signaling.
That's excellent.
Okay, so Lee, what were you going to? Can you go ahead and give the disclaimer, or Maureen?
Yeah, we're talking about a supplement here, and so we don't diagnose, treat, or cure any disease thing. These are supplements. These are replenishments to the body, and they are a cellular function supplement that makes the cells function better. And if in time the better functioning cell deals with the downstream problem that the dysfunctional cell created, then there's improvement in overall health and cell function. So that's the disclaimer.
Okay. Now, when you were explaining that, which you did beautiful, it sounds massive. It sounds like this could be the biggest thing ever discovered. Why doesn't anybody else know about it, Russell? Why is it a secret?
Well, it takes time for innovative ideas to enter the mainstream. Simon Sinek, S-I-N-E-K, who wrote the book Start With Why, has a wonderful explanation of how the innovators, which are always 2% or less of the population, bring in the new ideas like Vertus Norton and Tyler Norton and Dr. Gary Samuelson made this possible back in 2008, 2009. So here we are in 2022. So we're still at the beginning of the introduction. This will become mainstream, but it probably will take another 10 years for that to happen. But that will happen because, as Dr. Lee lays out so clearly in now his 2 books, this is absolutely fundamental. And there are institutes arising in universities all around the world based on or focused on redox research, redox biology, redox biochemistry. I just want to add something to what Dr. Lee just said. Basically, all negative health problems have their origin in dysfunctioning cells. So it's interesting to ask the question, how did those cells become dysfunctional? And part of the answer is the cell is deficient in redox signaling molecules. Because a normal cell or a healthy cell experiences dysfunction all the time. But the difference is a healthy cell is able to detect dysfunction as soon as it happens. How is it able to detect the dysfunction as soon as it happens? It's able to make that detection because of redox signaling molecules. So picture a healthy cell and something happens, the person eats some weird food and some toxin gets into the cell and causes some damage. Well, the healthy cell says, whoa, that's not supposed to happen. And the redox molecules alert the cell, alert the brain of the cell, which is the nucleus of the cell, that this problem is occurring. And the nucleus sends back the genetic codes to fix the problem. All of that activity, the detection, the communication, and the repair are all the vehicle of redox signaling molecules. So that's what happens when the cell is healthy. But if the cell is not healthy, if the cell has a deficiency of oxygen or water or micronutrients, and most importantly, if it has a deficiency in redox signaling molecules, that when that dysfunction occurs, when that damage occurs, the cell is not alerted to the damage, so the damage persists, causing the cell to eventually dysfunction, to eventually degenerate, and eventually become dis-eased. It's no longer functioning properly. But even as long as that cell is still working, if you could start infusing that diseased, degenerate, and dysfunctioning cell with redox molecule, the cell is going to either kill itself or repair itself. So this is the miracle, really, of our biology. And these are things that are happening all the time. And now we can enhance all these functions, all these miracles because of the redox signaling supplements.
Russell, I love that. And it reminds me, it seems like magic because the redox molecules are everywhere in every cell. And when we fix that deficit and imbalance, amazing things happen. But it's not magic, it's physiology. But the physiology is just so unbelievable. It's like a symphony, the way everything fits together. But, I'm listening to you talk about it. I'm listening to everything that is a redox reaction in the body. And I don't know if it would be too much to say that redox molecules are as important to our cells as maybe oxygen is. You can't live without oxygen and you can't live without redox. And it's just amazing that we're just scratching the surface of what these molecules do and what our being able to replenish them actually means. So, thank you for your description of that. Yeah.
Maureen or Lee, but what happens to sick cells? Do sick cells multiply?
Generally not. There's something called apoptosis. There's a mechanism that cells will take themselves, they either repair or they take themselves out of the game. It's sort of a self-suicide. That can be turned off in what we call rogue cells. We're not going to use any medical terms here, but those cells kind of, they lose that signaling and they start to multiply and they get out of hand. And most of you have known somebody, we've all been touched by this, where people have those cells kind of going all over their body without being controlled. So those signals are extremely important, and that process of apoptosis and even something called autophagy, and I'll let Dr. Lee speak to this because he does it very eloquently, and why that is such an important process in the body. So Lee, you want to take it from there?
Yeah, I love the way Russell approached that as well. And, you know, you made the comment about oxygen. The reality is that all of these redox molecules are derivatives of oxygen. They are reactive oxygen species. And there's a number of them, and they're all utilized within the process of energy metabolism, or how the cell burns or combusts or metabolizes the food that we eat, which I want to come circling back and talk about that food that we eat and what it's doing in the gut, because that's where Russell can shine. But that whole process creates these redox molecules, and the dox part of it, the reduction and the oxidation part of that, is simply the movement of electrons from one molecule to the next molecule. And that is, in technical terms, that's called transduction, or we call it signaling. It's the movement of an electrical charge from one molecule or one species to another molecular species. And in the movement of that electron, things happen in the cell. And in the great choreography of what's going on, and all of the electrical charges that are created in a cell, a state of oxidation can develop if it's not balanced properly, and that takes the cell in an odd direction. Autophagy is simply, and we'll get into this in a couple of weeks in more detail, I'm sure, but everything in the cell, what Russell was describing, is what we call the redox landscape. It's the redoxome, just like we have a metabolome or genome. This is the redoxome. And so there's a multitude of redox sensitive switches or transcription factors that can do this detecting. They can tell when the balance is off, and they trigger a response in the cell. And one of those responses is the ability to do cellular repair. We call it autophagy. You could just think of it as like the old Pac-Man game, the video game for Pac-Man when that first came out. And you've got the Pac-Man that's activating in the cell, and he's going around and eating up all the bad proteins and the damaged molecules. That process is activated because of these very redox signaling molecules that we're talking about. So it gets very, very good. I'd like to pivot on that and go back to Russell. This food that we eat that's so critical, that combines with oxygen in a metabolomic and metabolic process to create energy, obviously transits through the body. We've got this tube that goes from one end to the other end. And I'd like, if you would, Russell, maybe you could dive into that water and discuss how redox is a part of that process in terms of digestion and gut health, and share your thoughts about that, what you've discovered.
Sure. First thing to say is the little Pac-Man, you're dating yourself, Dr. Lee. Pac-Man, way back, one of the first video games. But that is the image that I still use today to help people understand what natural killer cells are and what natural killer cells do. And natural killer cells are components of our immune system cells. And so the process that Jim asked Maureen to explain about what happens when rogue cells get created, or how does that happen? That partly happens because the immune cell, it happens partly because the cell itself has lost its repair mechanism, as we were describing. But even if that repair mechanism of the cell is faulty, if that cell became diseased, the job of the immune system is to come around and find that cell before it can duplicate and duplicate and duplicate, and kill it and get rid of it and clean it up. So redox molecules not only are the foundational assistance for all cells, including immune system cells. So as we learned through one of the studies done on our redox supplements, the innate immune system is enhanced. And that means all of the components of the immune system. How does that lead us to digestion, you are asking? Well, 80% of the antibody-producing cells of our immune system are manufactured in glands in the small intestine. So the intestinal microbiome, when it's healthy, is protecting our immune system. And the antibody, we hear this word antibody a lot in the last 2 years during COVID, because antibodies are the cells that eat viruses and kill viruses. So people who did not do so well during COVID were people whose immune systems were not functioning normally and not producing the normal amounts of antibodies. So having a healthy digestive system is essential in having a healthy immune system. And that's one of its functions. The primary function that most of us are familiar with is the breaking down or the digestion of food into its micronutrient components, vitamins, minerals, trace minerals, amino acids, pigments like chlorophyll. The reason we eat the food that we eat is for the macronutrients, protein, carbohydrate, and fat, but all of the micronutrients that I just mentioned. And down in the small intestines, of which we have 24 feet, Dr. Lee said it's a 30-foot long tube, and that's correct. But there's a tremendous surface area in that tube that's inside of our own body. If we were to take that out and spread it out, it would cover an entire tennis court. So it's an amazing amount of surface area in there. Through the small intestine, through the 24 feet of traveling, on the walls of the small intestine are little finger-like projections, microscopic finger-like projections. And if you could see at the end of each of those finger-like projections are additional finger-like projections. These are called the villi and microvilli of the small intestine. And if I were to walk over to that plant over there on the table and pull it out and shake the plant and free the soil and see all the roots of that plant, and the villi and microvilli of our intestine are identical in form and function. So in other words, the villi and microvilli of our intestine are the root system of our body. And the purpose of those finger-like projections is literally to reach out into the food in liquid form as it's moving through our digestive system and take out the nutrients, take out the micronutrients, pass them back through the root system into blood vessels in those villi and microvilli, and then through the intestinal wall into our liver, where they're cleaned and processed at another level, another step, and then made available to all the cells of our body. So the digestive system is not just a mechanical process of breaking down food and eliminating waste, but it's literally the most important interface between the outer environment and our inner environment. And if that, and of course that root system is where the microbiome lives, where the bacteria live. And so in the same way, you want to see a great documentary, Get Fantastic Fungi, which talks about the microbiome of the roots of trees and other plants. And that is the same inside of our own body. Probiotics function the same way. The bacteria in soil, which is what allows water and micronutrients up into the tree, same thing as what happens inside the human body. So if that root system is healthy, that means the microbiome is healthy. The microbiome of probiotics, of which there are hundreds and hundreds of species. And all of that activity is all the activity of individual cells. All those cells are empowered by redox signaling molecules.
Do you think that the And that's excellent. Thank you. Do you think that the biome, what makes it so wonderful as part of our total cellular health is, for one, it has prebiotics and probiotics, and then it has the slippery elm. And then when you're marrying that with the redox signaling, isn't that what makes it such an exceptional product for people to try?
Yes, absolutely. As you can imagine, as a gut health expert, I mean, this has been my specialty for 42 years. I have an expertise in helping people with serious digestive system disorders. And in all of those situations, they have a messed up microbiome. They have a dramatic, serious imbalance of the gut bacteria. So I have been very, very particular in the probiotics that I take myself and certainly that I use in my practice. And when Asea introduced Biome, it's probably 4 years ago now. It could be 5, but definitely 4 years ago. I was a little hesitant because I had used the same probiotic successfully for almost 30 years. But I kept hearing so many wonderful stories from friends in the Asea community that I finally took it myself and started sharing it with my clients. And it's absolutely, in my opinion and experience, the best probiotic out there. I've never seen anything work so quickly. There are many people that I work with who have slow, sluggish digestive systems, elimination systems. And many times by taking 2 or 3 capsules of our probiotic Biome, within a day or two, they're calling saying, wow, things are moving. And moving in a proper way, formed bowel movements, not loose and urgent or anything like that. So it helps to normalize the microbiome. The probiotics in Biome. Biome is a full spectrum probiotic supplement, 16 strains. And as you said, Anne, prebiotics, which are nutrients to feed the bacteria. So it's an exceptional, top of the line probiotic. It's my favorite.
So can you explain what you just said just a little bit more, the 16 versus anything else? Because, what I see advertised, and I'm not the probiotic specialist by any means, but what I see, marketed out there is kind of these exaggerated bragging, maybe I should say kind of braggadocious comments about how many colony forming units and how it might only have 3 or 4 bacterial species. You're saying there's 16. What's the difference and why does that matter?
Yeah, very good question. So 2 parts of this. One is CFUs, as you referenced. CFUs means colony forming units. And that's usually measured in 1 billion or 2 billion or 5 billion per capsule. What they're saying is that there are supposedly in one capsule 1 billion or 3 billion or 5 billion bacterial organisms that are bioactive probiotics. My experience has been that what's on the label is often not what's in the finished product. So that's one aspect. And then in terms of what you'll hear more and more about defining a healthy microbiome is diversity in the type of probiotic organisms. So in 1990, when I first started taking probiotics, there were only 2 on the marketplace. And one was called Acidophilus and the other was called Bifidus. And it's true that Acidophilus is the dominant probiotic of the small intestine and Bifidus is the dominant probiotic strain in the large intestine. But they've discovered many, many more types of probiotics. And what they discovered basically is that it's the synergistic relationship between and among multiple species of bacteria, probiotics, that make for the diversity, make for the health of the microbiome. So in the case of our probiotic Biome, there are 16 different strains. Don't ask me to list them off because I won't be able to do it. But they have wonderful sounding names like Stradivarius run anyway. All I can tell you is Acidophilus imbibitus for sure, and 14 other wonderful strains. But that so just to finish this off, the only thing that can really determine whether the probiotic is effective or not is how it is affecting the individual person. Okay, so people take probiotics and they don't experience normal digestion or normal absorption of nutrients or normal elimination, and so they're wasting their money because the probiotics are ineffective.
Right.
But biome is very effective. You use the right amount, and the right amount is usually, like 90% of the time, 1 or 2 or 3 capsules a day. You will see an improvement in digestive function and elimination.
Could you clarify that? Is it, you said 1, 2, or 3? Because
For
I've
some
taken,
people,
Yeah, I take
it says
the bottle says.
it says 3, but one
Yes.
person may only need 1.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, so again, what I've found, and I'm talking to people every day about this, it says on the label 3 capsules per day. And for people who have as their dominant tendency, slow, sluggish, or constipated type bowel movement activity, that's a really good recommendation. In fact, I work with people who need 4 a day or 5 a day. Okay, so it's not set in stone. And then I have other people who have the opposite issue, loose, urgent, frequent. And once we've gone through a process and reset their microbiome in a healthy way, many of those people whose system's tendency is towards the other extreme, they often just need 1 capsule a day and they're perfectly fine. So, just like with the redox supplements, some people 6 ounces a day, some people 8 ounces a day. It's the same thing with probiotics. It can vary quite a bit from person to person.
Hey, Russell, I have a couple of questions. First, I was listening to, first, I want to know who's counting that billion colonies
Right.
in there.
Yeah.
How do they know?
It's a little elf.
I would say they have to stick somebody in there with it. And let me compliment you. As a physician, I of course studied the digestive tract. I've never heard that analogy to roots on a plant. That was pretty fascinating to me. And as I thought about it, I thought you're absolutely right. And that is such a descriptive way to explain it, to everybody, how we're getting that nutrition in. But talking about the gut, this is something, we learn about the gut, but in medical school, at least at the time that I went, we did not study nutrition at all. We were given like a scope book with pictures of people's tongues and skin rashes and stuff. And that was our big thing on nutrition. And, I know the gut, the more I study it, the more I realize that the gut and nutrition is really the basis of so much, basically of health. And that a lot of the conditions that we think are due to external things, even like skin eruptions and things like that, have often to do with your diet. If you wouldn't mind taking a moment and kind of talking about our nutritional products and where they fit in. And God bless you, honey. And another thing, I have no digestive issues. I'm good to go, so to speak. Pun intended.
Knock on wood.
What's that?
Knock on wood.
Yeah. But
that's rare.
Yeah, it is. But, I am fluffy, and a lot of the stuff that I've done, I try to keep a healthy diet. And I have read that sometimes you can have an overabundance of certain bacteria in your gut that are actually, that actually can keep you fat, or fluffy, as I like to say. So, can you kind of talk about those things about, the who's in your gut and who's making those decisions for you? And then also the role of nutrition. So thanks. It's a lot, but you can handle it, I'm sure.
Thank you for the compliment, Maureen, about the root system description. So the relationship between nutrition and health is not casual, it's causal. So a well-nourished body doesn't make mistakes. So it's just fascinating to see over all these years, what this most fundamental relationship is. Food is so important to all the functions of our whole body. So, but ask your question again, specifically, what are you looking for? So, sorry, in terms of skin, so I was just talking to somebody today who has adult acne. And what I was saying is, even though most of the people who come to see me, and I work virtually with everyone, so, Zoom and the phone, although the primary symptom and condition is a digestive disorder, often they have other downstream conditions and disorders like chronic fatigue, achy joints, headaches, insomnia, and almost always skin problems, eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, and many other type of skin issues. And one of the things that I've definitely seen over the last 42 years is that when the gut gets healthy, all those other problems disappear, especially the skin problem. In fact, we call this a beneficial side effect. So one of the most beneficial side effects of a healthy digestive system is beautiful skin, okay? And that's because it's an important connection because our digestive system is the largest organ of elimination of waste, the largest system of elimination of waste, and that's kind of obvious. But the second largest organ through which the body eliminates waste is our skin. And so, and often the skin problems are happening not only because of a faulty microbiome, a condition we call dysbiosis, but that dysbiosis, that overgrowth of the wrong kind of organisms, is causing inflammation in the gut, a literal swelling or fluffiness inside the intestine, and that's causing another condition called leaky gut syndrome. And so the toxins that are supposed to stay contained in the digestive system and in the colon and then out into the toilet bowl start leaking out into the bloodstream. And the body immediately recognizes that's not supposed to be happening. And in its wisdom, the body tries to get rid of those toxins in the fastest way possible, sending them out through the skin. And again, the body is hoping that we have been educated properly so that we can recognize that symptom as not a skin issue, but as a gut issue and make the necessary corrections.
So
Exactly.
how do our nutritional products fulfill that?
Very good. So thank you. So source. So we really only need 3 or 4 categories of nutritional supplements. And one is a superfood, a source of micronutrients. And that's what we have. That's what Asea has in our product called Source. Okay, so that's how I think of it. It's a superfood supplement. It's going to replenish vitamins, minerals, trace minerals, amino acids, enzymes. It's an enzyme-rich food-based supplement. And antioxidants and things like that. So it's a full spectrum micronutrient supplement.
It's like a green drink in a capsule when you say.
Exactly. Very good analogy. It's a green drink in a capsule. Very good. And then we need probiotics, as we've been talking. So that's our biome. And then we need antioxidants, from nutrition, from food-based nutrition. And that's what LifeMax is, with mushrooms and other food sources for the antioxidants. And omega is our healthy fats, derived from the essential oils of certain fish. What is the fish that we?
Wild Alaskan cod is what they use.
Thank you.
It has
Thank you.
buckthorn and pomegranate oil too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yes. So these 4 food-based products, Source, Biome, LifeMax, and Omega, really cover all the bases when it comes to nutritional supplements. And I mean, there are all kinds of other supplements, but those are the basic categories. And then when you combine that with the redox supplements, you really have a complete cellular health routine, a complete cellular health regimen.
I like to add about the biome. Well, for one, the list of what are the strands, they're on the back of the bottle. So you're welcome to look at that. We have a great 4-minute video that also talks about the details of these 4 for those that are new tonight. I love that all of them can be broken open in their capsule, rice capsule, and then you break open, you have your nutrients. Some people don't like to do pill form. So that's pretty neat. I like that you can take extra if somebody does have that challenge with the gut, and it's all whole food. It's 100% absorption. So, you don't have to worry about having too many. So the other neat thing about the biome is it helps with the BMI. So people who have that concern, they can use the biome and aid in their BMI index. So that's pretty neat about that. I mean, you do get extra probiotics in your Source too. So I love Source, and you can take extra, then you'll get more, B5, which is now part of our new stuff coming out. So it's wonderful how it can be used for even teenagers. It can be used for kids. And, and I've compared many that are out there, and these 4 are just exceptional in what they do. And you've got lion's mane in LifeMax. I mean, if you don't know what that does, there's so many benefits to lion's mane. So I appreciate you adding all that you did about our nutrition. It's quite remarkable. So
I have heard it said that the gut is the second brain. Can you explain that?
A little bit. So I like to start the talk about the gut-brain connection, or the gut as the second brain, simply by reminding everyone that we've all had an experience, or many experiences throughout our lifetime, of having a gut reaction to something. We get some news and our stomach turns. We're sitting on the subway one day, and there's somebody sitting next to us, and we have a really bad feeling in our gut. And so we get up at the next stop and get off the train. And then the next day we pick up the newspaper, and there's the picture of the guy we were sitting next to who just, committed some crime or something.
Oh.
So everyone has had this experience of a gut feeling, and usually it's a powerful feeling. Sometimes you're signing a contract for a new job, and you get that gut feeling that, oh, this is the wrong thing to do. And so stop signing it right then. And on and on. Many experiences of this. So one of the reasons for that sensitivity is that there are twice the number of nerve cells in the gut microbiome than there are in what we normally think of as the nervous system. And through a particular nerve called the vagus nerve, VAGUS, connects the gut and the brain, there's this intimate, almost immediate connection between how we're feeling and how we're thinking. And as many people have experienced in their lives, feelings will often overpower thinking, or for very good reason. But those feelings are not just superficial emotions. The gut feelings that we're talking about are very high level thoughts and perceptions from a system of our body that's acutely sensitive to what's happening. So that gut-brain connection is very powerful, and it's regulated by redox signaling molecules.
I think people need to understand that by adding everything that we're talking about, their diet also plays a significant role in how their body's going to function. And Lee, is your book going to be, and then I guess Russell, your book talks about that as well?
Oh yes. I mean, I started out my career as a nutrition counselor. And so in the very beginning of my practice, all I did was talk to people about their food choices, hydration, exercise, meditation, but most of the change occurred in moving people away from conventionally grown processed food to organically grown whole foods. So yes, critically important. So most people, if they will simply sit down and based on their current level of knowledge, information, etc., draw up 2 lists. And those lists would be foods that you're eating every day that you already know are not ideal. You already know are optimum nutrient-dense, antioxidant-rich organic whole foods or derived from organic whole foods. And another list of foods and habits and supplements that you know are very helpful and complementary to your body. If people would do that simple exercise, they'll very quickly identify the foods and beverages and habits and supplements and medications that are either really supporting their body to restore and maintain normal functioning, or putting things off in the wrong direction.
Oh, I'm sorry to keep asking so many questions, but we've only got a couple of minutes left, and we haven't talked about the hydration factor. We see a lot of people that drink tea or coffee, other things, and it's amazing, frankly, they're still alive. But how critical is good? Sorry, Maureen, but how good is clean? I got to pick on Maureen.
I drink water. I got my Pellegrino right here. I'm just playing.
That's a bottle of wine.
I
We know you're drinking. But
you got 300.
so how good is clean water, Russell?
Yeah. So
and how should we drink it? Just cover that real quick.
So starting in the mid 1970s, I always made sure I had purified drinking water. I would travel miles to find a natural spring to get my water. So I stopped drinking tap water many, many moons ago. But in spite of drinking purified water, or very good quality water, I did not understand the connection between the volume of water. So I was chronically underhydrated for many, many years. And I've told that story many times. So we need to be drinking half our body weight in ounces of water per day. And for most people, that's more than what they normally consume. I weigh 200 pounds, so I drink 100 ounces of water per day. And I've been doing that now since 1997. And to all of that water that I drink, this is my little quart milk bottle that I measure my water in. I add a small amount, like a pinch, like a quarter of a teaspoon per quart of water of organic quality sea salt. Because this sea salt contains minerals and trace minerals which function as electrolytes, which allows for the water to be absorbed into the cell. So a lot of people drink water, but it just goes right through them. So if you add the salt to the water, very tiny amount, you're going to get much better absorption into your cells. And so I had been aware of the water and salt thing for many, many years, over 15 years, before someone introduced me to the redox signaling molecules. And what got my attention, other than my friend's story, which I told earlier, was the fact that they were making the redox molecules from salt water. And so it's true. When we talk about hydration in the body, 55 to 75% of the physical structure of every cell in our body is water. And so if there's drought at any level, dysfunction, degeneration, and eventually dis-ease will start to occur. So just as we said that the relationship between nutrition and health is not casual, but causal, hydration is also one of these absolute most fundamental habits and will have a positive impact. Just like restoring to normal levels the redox signaling molecules of our cells will help everything. Restoring to normal levels, hydration levels in the cells will help every negative condition that exists.
That's great.
Russell, can we count the Asea that we're drinking as part of our water intake? Or we always tell people you have to be well hydrated for the redox molecules to work. So, because I will admit I hate water. I'm one of those people. I don't like to drink water. I would much rather drink coffee or iced tea, and I know that doesn't work. If I flavor my Pellegrino, I like it better. So, but I'll tell you, the new drinks coming out, I will drink those all day long. They're fabulous. Yeah. Does that count? If your water is flavored, does that count? Does the Asea count towards your hydration? Can you kind of speak to that for those of us who struggle with hydration?
Well, yeah, I don't want to end on a disappointing note or frustrating note, but I learned the water cure from the medical doctor who made this discovery back in the late 1970s, an Iranian doctor named Feridun Batman Gelaj. We call him Dr. Batman or Dr. B.
Funny name.
He was very emphatic that half our body weight in ounces of water had to be water, not fruit juice or nothing. Not if we added anything else to the water that needed to be digested, it kind of changes the whole metabolic process. So
lemon juice.
I would say this. Sorry?
Lemon juice or ACV, does that change the water to something else?
Yes, because lemon juice is a food. And lemon juice has to be digested. So there are many, many people who put lemon juice in their water and are very healthy. So if whatever you're doing produces the results that you want and the benefits that you want, keep doing it, please. In answer to the other question, I think if you're drinking 8 ounces or less of Asea a day, you still want to drink half your body weight in water. But if you're drinking more than 8 ounces, then definitely some of that Asea water can be included in the total amount that you're drinking every day, definitely.
Okay, so go over real quick, being a sipper of water, not a chug-a-lugger, and the temperature of the water, and when should they stop drinking water so they're not up all night visiting the little boys' room, girls' room?
Yeah, thank you, Jim. So depending on a person's condition, the more serious the negative health condition, the temperature of the water is important. So purity of the water, temperature of the water, presence of salt. And Jim pointed out what turns out for many people to be the most important habit, and that is sipping water through the day. I just drank an ounce of water, but if I were to down this whole quart within 5 minutes, it would go through me very quickly and would not get to all the cells, and the cells would not absorb the water. So a lot of people drink fast. They drink 8 ounces at a time, 10 ounces at a time. And again, what we've found, especially with people trying to recover their health, sipping is really a key. I know we're at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
Well, I know from Dr. Rob Ward's book, he talks about if you combine redox signaling with, a clean diet, enough fruits, vegetables that we're supposed to have, and then exercise some each week, and then get enough rest, all of those marry together and make it all work better. Your redox signaling will work better by incorporating it with these other things. Don't sabotage your redox signaling by doing things that are clearly not going to be either good for the gut or good for the heart. I mean, it defeats the purpose, really. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, one last question, and we don't have the Aussies coming on, so we can go a little bit over. How did you handle the network marketing part of this? Was that a problem for you?
No, it wasn't. Not at the time I was introduced. I was first introduced to the concept of network marketing back in 1987. At a time when I was introduced literally to the first line of nutritional supplements that I used myself and brought into my practice. So I recognized from the very beginning that this particular business model is a way for innovative products to enter the marketplace. And so we should all be extremely grateful to the network marketing business model, because this is how most of the innovative products, especially in the health area, have been introduced in the last 50, 60 years. Just in terms of the compensation model, there are many, many people who will advocate this model because you only earn income by helping a lot of people. And that is an economic model that the world could really benefit from today.
Yeah, I agree. That's great. That's great. Well, this is a great fast hour.
Yeah, as always.
Appreciate you, Rob. Who is next week?
Next week, we have our midwife, Donalyn Dominguez. So she will be joining us. Then the week after that, we have got Dr. Lee Osler.
Yay.
That will be going over the new book. And then after that, we have a holiday, and then we'll be at convention. And we will be doing this show live from the convention, sitting at Dr. Osler's table outside the main ballroom. So
that's awesome.
Take a look for us there. Lee, you got anything you want to wrap it up with?
No,
did you ever get that chicken bone out of your throat?
Well, of course he did.
You know, I love Russell's comment.
Need?
Yeah, I love Russell's comment about, you know, the more people you help, the more you earn, and you only earn when you help a lot of people.
Yeah.
And, you know, that parallels things that Marina said about the fact that that's what we're in, as a healing profession to assist people. So, Russell, thank you so much for bringing your expertise. I look at these Gut Fridays. I look forward to them because you're so bright and you're so brilliant at explaining things. I appreciate that.
Well, and next week's subject, I mean, the pregnant mamas could definitely benefit from gut health, because that's going to affect the baby. So why wouldn't they incorporate redox while they're expecting?
Well, I think it's one of the most misunderstood.
I've met lots of pregnant mamas over the years, for sure.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, I think this issue of the gut health is one of the more important topics. I think a lot of people have frankly given up hope. Russell, that's kind of where I was, you know, with my back issues and being addicted to pain pills. And I had gained quite a bit of extra weight, but I had no hope. And then when my best friend shared this with me, kind of like you, I didn't care what it was. I saw what it did to him and his family. So I immediately hopped on, and praise God that I did. But it just breaks our heart that people are not as open-minded. But yet, even those that are getting on the technology, they can yet get better results, right? If they do improve their diet, improve their water intake, the exercise, and then adding the supplements is going to really help with all the nutrition factors. And Lee, you're going to educate us on that one, right, in 2 weeks?
I will.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I have to say, the more good you can do for your body, the bigger bang you're going to get for your buck. So, you know, if you're going to invest in replenishing the redox molecules, you might as well be doing all the other things. If you're sitting on the sofa with a Big Mac in one hand and a clicker in the other, you know, the molecules are just fighting to keep you alive, right? You know, if you want optimal health, you've got to really take control. But you know what, Russell, I'm still waiting to hear about the fat bacteria in my gut. I want to blame it on the bad bacteria, but it's true, right? I mean, the composition of the bacteria in your gut can influence so much of your health, correct? Even your weight.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so much of your fat burning metabolism is a consequence of balanced gut bacteria or imbalanced gut bacteria. Can I just end on the note that if there was one single complementary thing that anyone could do at the beginning of their redox adventure, it is, without question, better daily hydration. That is absolutely true. All the other things are important, definitely. And if you can do more than hydration when you're beginning your redox journey, do them all. But absolutely, everything will work so much better. You'll be able to optimize the benefit of the redox supplements if you are better hydrated. No question about that.
Well, I'm going to work on that. I hear you tell that to us every time, and I try, you know, so I'm just going to have to get better. And I'm just looking at what's in this energy drink that I'm adding to my Pellegrino, which is just totally gotten rid of.
You had 3 drinks there on that desk.
She's mixing them all in.
Yeah.
So, hey, Russell, real quick.
Take it
Now,
back.
again, with drinking that much water,
Choice.
should we shut it off like if you go to bed at 11 o'clock, should you stop drinking as much water? But then also, should you drink water right before you go to bed? Or is it more important to drink it right when because you said you drink 32 ounces before breakfast.
So this is the first principle of functional medicine is biochemical individuality, which means everybody's different. So everybody ultimately has to experiment and find out how much, the time of day when they're going to be drinking water. So typically I stop drinking water around 6 p.m. So from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., I'm drinking 95% of my water. And then in the evening, very, very little. Usually if I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll drink a little Asea and I'll drink a little water. So, but there are some people, especially as they age, that need to be mindful and at least drink a little bit of water through the evening hours, or they can get dehydrated in the middle of the night. People wake up, they're dizzy in the middle of the night.
That.
The primary cause of that is dehydration.
Yeah. And as you're on Asea, your kidneys get healthier, your bladder gets healthier, all these things get healthier.
Yeah.
So you can sleep better through the night. So that's it.
Yeah, and I
That's
will
a good
make
thing.
a quick comment for the new cell performance products coming out. My dreaming activity just went through the roof. Did you experience that, Maureen or Lee?
Not yet.
No, Maureen.
Try it.
I had
did.
no-
Oh, Lee's got
I'm
it.
sorry,
I didn't know
I
if they
think
had
my
it.
husband has the basketball games on. Somebody was saying voice in the background.
Yay!
It's Joaquin. You can blame him. So
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I did have this weird dream. I don't know where my husband. I don't even want to tell you. It was more of a nightmare, so it wasn't like a pleasant dream. So, but
Oh, yeah, let's don't go there. Well, guys,
Is Cell Performance going to be in Canada? Do we know that for sure? Have you heard, Russell? Cell
I don't
Performance?
know. And I'm just in Canada temporarily. We'll be returning to the States in a month. So
Okay.
Okay, good.
Oh, good.
and we'll see you at
Convention.
see you in Vegas.
see you all at
So, guys,
convention.
Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
See you next week.
We appreciate everybody. Well, this is our after shows. We kind of included it in the recording. So it will be up at redoxmatters.com. Go to the 5. All the recordings are there. Lee's done a phenomenal job. And look what Russell's doing. He's spraying the
Yeah,
molecules.
we have ours nearby.
I've got
Ours are in our
4
bag.
bottles and I don't have one
No,
right
we
here.
got it right
There we
here.
go.
Look at that.
Let's all do it.
Yes, we're all going to do.
There we go.
My turn.
Let's-
I
where's yours, Lee? Let's have a spray party.
In the other room.
I'll use some renewing. You guys, I won't be there. Don't tell Donalyn. She's one of my favorites.
Oh,
but
next week
What?
you're out.
I'm going
Are you doing Comedy Central or what are you doing?
no comedy this time. That's my kids who does that. No, I'm
I
actually.
meant you watching him.
No, you subbed in. You did a little bit.
Yeah, I meant you watching him. But
You
where
did.
where
I
are
was
you
told
headed?
don't give up your day job, but yeah, I'm not that.
Can you tell us where you're headed?
Yeah,
or
no.
is it-
My husband gets tickets to the Bronx Tale, so we're going to.
Oh,
Oh,
theater.
cool.
Yeah.
well, have
Well,
fun
guys,
with that.
We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
You need those dates.
Yes, yes.
Catch them when you can.
Things are
No,
opening
it's
up. Go
our
have fun.
date night. So anyway,
Ah,
Russell, thank
fun.
you.
Bye.
Fun.
thank you, Russell.
Lee, thank you.
Thanks,
Maureen, as
everybody.
always. We love you guys.
Thanks again.
Thank
All
you,
right, guys.
everybody,
Have
for
a great
joining us.
weekend.
Come
Bye,
join us
y'all.
next week and bring a guest.
Great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Everybody.